as many would have predicted, Overpass, the opening map of the Grand Finals, goes the way of Heroic. It was their choice, and it was their chance to assert themselves. But now we're moving on to Cobblestone, where EnVyUs will certainly be feeling the heat as first place is on the line.
Yeah, certainly no surprise on the first map. Everyone on the desk and here expected Heroic to easily take that, and I guess it was a hard-fought victory, but still quite convincing at the same time. And now on Cobble, the thing is that Envy have warmed up on it, but at the same time, Heroic have a bit of game tape. I'm sure they were watching the previous series and Happy in all of his splendor, hitting all those great op frags as the secondary.
Our talented analysts on the desk did mention, of course, the aggression from Happy with both not entering on drop down, but also counter boosting into drop down. We saw that yesterday as well, where he was just constantly a threat on either side over there. Yeah. I'm going to be very interested to see if Heroic try to counter that kind of an aggression. They should be very aware of it at this point. There's been multiple instances of EnVyUs on Cobble so far this tournament, and so the sample size is there. Yeah. You should be able to derive something from it. But how much of an issue do you think Heroic will be on Cobble? I mean, again, we thought Heroic were going to win their map. We argued that this was going to go 3 ways. So does Envy take this with convincing fashion?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of that philosophical discussion about when is a ship a new ship because of how many pieces have been changed. And Heroic, I mean, Heroic historically have been good at Cobblestone, but at this point it's just like a brand new team. I mean, the only player that was left on the team that I remember being so good on this map was Madi. I think, you know, Envy have a good chance to win it. 2-1s across the board in terms of predictions from us. I think we should stand by that, but at the same time, it will be tough. And I think Happy plays a critical role, but it's a role that if the information is not on his side, then he will get abused over and over again. On the anti-ecos, we see that Envy like to take drop control, and that's with Happy going down, Molotoving on all the spots, making sure that window's smoked, and then waiting for anyone to push E-Box. And he's not going to be able to get away with that too easily every single time. It was actually a Chinese team that I remember found a good way of dealing with players or teams that like to take drop control very aggressively. And that was by Molotoving it after they know that someone had dropped down. But here we are, right into the pistol round. Happy leading the charge into B.
Yeah, bit of a clash despite 0 casualties over here on drop. Heroic with a strong defense on the B site where Yugi's able to kick things off with a headshot, but Happy dropped as Madi comes in from behind. Nico still towards site, just asking for help as the 2-man advantage should be enough, but it's being dealt with. Scream finding one, but also finding a death as Heroic find a pistol round onto the board. Yeah,
super solid hold. I mean, it was a pretty standard attempt at B from Envy where they just split long and drop down. So we can see here the cheering section for Heroic in full effect as Heroic are now up a map and a pistol round moving into the second. Envy in response to this have bought up, head armor on 4 players, and Heroic actually only have UMPs. Good armor pen on the UMPs, that hasn't changed post-nerf.
Oh, just demolished.
Damn.
He's gonna post up on the same angle.
Yeah. And it looks like he wants some more. Wow, he's actually gonna get quite aggressive off that smoke. Almost gets away with the kill too. That would have been nothing short of a disaster. The only player in B.
Here comes the rest of the men though. Envy on the A site, or at least frantically trying to get there. Yugi able to hold the cross effectively so. While the bomb does get on site, it's not gonna be able to plant just yet. Sixer feels the heat. Heroic feel another round added to their collection. 2-0 the start.
Yeah, great recovery. I mean, seriously, the landscape of that round changes completely if Happy is able to get both kills on B. That first clean 1 dig, Esatag holding down long by himself in that smoke. Him being able to lurk or just use it or not, controlling rotation in that situation would have been a tremendous advantage. And now, NB on basic league locks, with the exception of Happy. Not much they can do in this situation. And you know, pop flashes are great on any map, obviously, but there is a lot of room on Cobble, especially at A, to get away with walking all the way up into one of the forward choke points, just because people aren't always quite that aggressive, considering how large that forward A area is. pretty much just a resource for CTs to hold on to lightly, just to make sure they can play those long angles.
A couple of light fire just scattered to the bottom of mid is the same as drop down. Madi finds a second frag, but Happy's got himself a bit of success here. Now all of a sudden, Scream to the backside of Snappy finds another and an ump to boot, but Yugi cleans them both up real quick. So that's how it should have gone, convincingly to the way of Heroic. They do eat some losses, but it's a win nonetheless.
Win nonetheless. Yugi is going to convert that MP9 into an AWP. EnVy, in response, Sixer had the opportunity there, I think, to consider opping. Instead is going to go for that Armor AK full nade set. And again, we see Terrorist Team do this because of the increased mobility you have. When you all have those rifles. XMS digging his own grave there, jumping over the line of sight. That smoke was doing him a favor.
Gets plucked from the air and immediately puts EnVy to the man disadvantage. So Heroic, the 5v4 in the opening gun round. If they can start to build momentum on the CT side of Cobble, then we can see some lopsided outcomes. But for now, EnVy is content with just clearing their corners and still taking those primary steps to an execution.
Indeed. Oh, Happy was actually just escorting his teammate out from long. Interesting way to do it. Seemed to be pretty effective. Difficult for people to pop flash for themselves now that you can hear the grenade leaving the hands of the player. Kind of activates pushes in some circumstances. Madi playing a very difficult spot under window. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes you get destroyed. But it's also moved over towards B.
Easy tag comes out from the corner. He's going to drop the bomb. That's information gained and a trade frag to follow suit both ways. Scream towards the platform, up close versus Nico. Just deals with the SMG. Gets himself towards sight, but that long flank from Snappy could be an issue. As the smoke begins to fade, he comes wide and Scream's got his number. Scream has got his head, and Yugi has a 1v2 to deal with. Now he's already got himself to the rock. We saw Scream trying to spot on the top of Statue. Did he see him? I don't think so, because Yugi's up close now. And Yugi knows he fires off the Deeg, but it's not enough. EnVy with a round of the board.
Interesting moment there, Yugi with the deagle. It's one of the reasons why the deagle isn't so great, especially in clutch situations, is because he had to make a decision to jump in that situation, and his landing accuracy makes it so that even though his crosshair is on him, he can't expect to hit those deagle shots, or at least all of them. And here we see him hitting 1-2, would have killed, and would have made that round very strange. But, you know, and everyone suffers from that landing inaccuracy. The only difference with the deagle is you get less shots off because of how long it takes for that recoil to reset.
Just going back to what we've seen from EnVy time and time again, just boosting Happy onto the head of RPK, allowing for him to peek and pry. But he doesn't commit to drop. No, he falls back with the rest of EnVy. Other than RPK, who will linger a little longer. Nice utility usage to section players off. Poor Yugi left guessing as he randomly fires a shot.
Tough situation. If EnVy know that Snappy is here, they take this fight 100%. They do have to worry about door if there's going to be an op there. Yugi, however, is over here watching long, and they haven't gotten that info yet. They've just smoked him, pushed him off. RPK over at drop is actually going to be gaining control of it. And, you know, it's a bunch of sound cues here for Heroic to try to play off of, but they've still got to think about it, whether or not RPK actually does anything. Oh my god, funnily enough, Madi tries to take the round into his own hands, just push straight up.
Now this leaves the A players completely sectioned out, so now that door becomes an issue to the CT side, and as RPK finds frags, Snappy's gonna stop at least one prong of the assault for a moment. He's then taken back. Yugi falls further towards the site itself. Now he's hoping desperately for an angle. He wants himself to target. The flick goes astray and the repeat costs him. Sixer catches his knife. And there's Nico now, 1v3. No utility, and even with a kit, he's called the save. This is EnVy to double down and dodge that hard reset.
That's a really tough spot that We saw Yugian where he had to think about his right and left side. If somebody had creeped up the left side of truck more aggressively, they would have been able to shoot him. There's no way Nico could have helped from heaven without actually jumping down. So it wasn't a lack of trust. He had no choice but to consider both options. Made a bit of a bad read. Envy took advantage of it. Sixer posted up on him at the perfect moment.
How do you feel about Madi trying to throw himself into the works there and chasing RPK?
I mean, I think I would have liked it if it worked, and so it's just one of those plays that sometimes you're going to look like a genius for doing it, and sometimes pretty dumb. But I think in that situation, it made a lot of sense. Like, having someone to deal with and drop is so annoying, especially when you're on the outside of it. You've forfeited control of E-Box. There's no easy way to flash somebody in. No, the fact that Madi tried to get up in there, because if he had killed RPK, he could have easily activated the rotations over to A for both his teammates in the back of the site, and that would have secured the round for Heroic 100%. So I completely understand his thought process. And again, he was decisive about it. Had RPK's back, just didn't hit that first bullet.
Now Nico's going to have to hit some headshots, seeing as he is that only AK here for Heroic. We've seen rounds like this work out throughout the weekend. But it's not EC Tag with a gun. It's him with a USP. Just spotting. Trying to get some information here so that Heroic can make a decisive play. Nice entry towards drop, puts Happy very close. He's able to push the CTs out, creating further space. Now again, this creates a question. How many players are really in here? It's at least Happy. And he's got now the advantage. Gonna boost back, replace himself with a man on a full bar. But more notably, that's Nico down for the count. That's an AK to the wayside. Not yet retrieved by Heroic either, as EnVyUs, they take their time with this one.
Absolutely a big find. And Happy getting out of there. Very smart. And wow, this is what you expected from Heroic, to try to regain drop control. And I was going to say RPK is putting himself in a position where he's just hoping that E-Box pushes first. Gets punished for it. 4v4 now, and the XQ comes out. Everyone out B.
EC Tag to the cover, gets removed. XMS then traded back as Madi finds a frag, but the flank of Snappy has been dealt with quite quickly as Yugi will tumble, Madi will fall, and Envy will tie at 3.
Yeah, solid recovery in that situation. I wonder if it was the right play to actually get Happy back up drop. I think no matter what in that situation, you're going to have to watch 2 choke points. So even when Happy goes down drop, what he always has is somebody sitting at the top of it watching the window for him. In that situation, I'm not sure if he was helping RPK. And,
no, I don't believe so, because,
because
Madi's able to jump in and then dink him to the back.
Exactly. So that would have been a kill had, and I'm not sure it made any sense to try to replace him if they weren't going to protect their new player. I mean, if anything, it's a great bait because they knew that Happy was low. Don't expect him to get back up drop.
Great bait, mate.
Great bait, mate. All 8s.
Actually, it's 7. That's the round currently. The score's 3-3.
Damn it.
Sixers got an op. Heroic have just M4s with very little utility at this point. Not a single kit, so you hate to see them lose a bomb site. Now, of course, I thought maybe the timing in the last round was what was going to cost EnVyUs, because they get back to the bomb site, lose players, and have to commit, as does Envy, into the Matrix. They go, and they come out better than not. Heroic down by 2. Madi back by A, but he re-engages, and he's able to catch XMS in the open. So he's trying to buy time. He's trying to hold them at bay. But instead, it's EnVyUs to slay the entirety of the A site. Poor old Heroic with just 2 players left, and they're tuck-tailed over towards B.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see the entire round come down to 1 engagement that Yugi ends up losing, and he had a favorable angle. He was able to get that first bullet in, but it wasn't a headshot. Had a couple seconds to spray, but because he died, put Happy in an awkward, or Snappy in an awkward spot where they're pushed up so aggressively that they both need to get kills, and then ideally fall back through one of the choke points that they got those kills from. And because they couldn't do that, completely lost control of A. And Envy took that and ran with it. Moving into this next round, Heroic are going to save these 2 guns. And this is going to be very fortunate for them because they have 4-round loss. But not a lot of money other than that. I think for EnVy, they can think about the fact that they just won that round by taking apart what was a brand new and aggressive A setup, but they can't take that information into this round. They can't expect to see that again, at least not for a few rounds. And so the pressure is still on to reinvent themselves.
Sixers hoping that he catches EC Tag again, going for those preemptive peaks. We've seen it multiple times, but no one will see anything this time because the smoke grenade goes down. Yet again, EnVyUs just so content with playing the A bomb site. I can't think of a team that fixates themselves on A more than EnVyUs does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very interesting. Easy to shy CTs away from it. I think Heroic look at that as an opportunity more than anything else. No, neither rifle here as Scream seeks to clear out these angles. Snappy's got a pretty good gun, 5.7. That can definitely do some damage at that range.
Yeah, Happy up close at this distance can also deal damage, but it's going to be Maudie again, just cowering under the lip of the ledge. RPK joins forces again. These two players generally so successful in drop.
Oh, rotations have come out, and EC Tag, great opportunity here.
See if he can lock things down. They are going to start to line up, but XMS catches the headshot, and it's RPK to simultaneously entry in. The kill feed is filled with the EnVyUs frags. It is just Yugi left standing.
Completely blasted. That was really nice. And again, there's not a whole lot to analyze behind the back of a really nice entry, but there is a lot to say about how nice entries will win you rounds and games.
And while that entry was so successful thanks to XMS and RPK, I feel like the setup there throughout the round from EnVyUs was also beautiful to watch. Not as exciting, obviously, not as explosive, but think of the way that Scream just meticulously clears out every single corner, gets all of that confidence behind the entry of EnVy. So when they do pull the trigger, when they do push in, they do so convincingly. And more importantly, simultaneously.
Yeah. Just to perform that pincer move, that great spacing. Obviously, the core tenet of one of the core tenets of Counter-Strike is to make sure that you always have the ability to trade on T side. And as we see, like two terrorists peeking from the opposite sides of rectangle at the exact same moment, giving both players a better chance of surviving.
Again, it's very much the same setup from EnVy. Their default seems very, I mean, this kind of plays into the conversation of how it's very difficult as a CT side on Cobblestone to really do much. Look at the just general setup here from EnVyUs. It is the same thing every single round. But what do you expect the counter-terrorists to do? Throw some grenades, that's one thing you can try and do from drop down. Just chuck nades over the ledge, get that to kind of, you know, blow up the totem pole, but they haven't gone for that.
Yeah, I think the closest that you expect to come to CTs is at drop, and that's why we see so much nade usage early on there. But over towards A, I mean, you almost don't have to smoke these choke points off if you're not playing them a lot of the time, especially if you have an op to rely on. And so I think that's why EnVy are so clean on taking advantage of clearing it every round, because it's free information to them. And, you know, after getting this forward at A, they still have so much utility to work with. All pushed up and looking to execute, as we can see the bomb postured to take the site.
Yeah, Snappy's looking to execute as well. These terrorists who are about to flood in, the shadow gives them way. He sees the second man and continues to spray, but it's Sixer to get the best of him, and Nico to get himself on site, or at least ever close as the flash connects, but the shots don't. Sixer with the Tech 9 able to further EnVy to the 3v2. Bomb now down, smoke plumes towards the door. Leaves EnVyUs in a prime spot for the after plant, but they want more success. They want further fights, and it's gonna cost them. EC Tag with 1 HP has an opportunity here and now. Sixers got him pinned though, and so he's gone. Yugi revealed and Yugi then dealt with. It's EnVy with a 6th round of the board. Heroics still stagnate on 3.
Sixer with the very important initial trade there on Snappy as he was holding down that spray. It must have been so frustrating seeing that shadow, knowing that Sixer wasn't going to come out and give you his whole model. And yeah, very good kills overall. Very tight peak there. This was an opportunity with such a great flash, and Nico fluffed the spray down. Unfortunate for his team here, but as we can see. Wow, beautiful. That was actually a really good shoulder peek, and yet Sixer was just a bit too fast.
Coming into this match, of course, we have the conversation of op presence for both of these lineups. Obviously, Yugi having been seen going for much more aggressive plays, much more impactful plays at the beginning of the rounds.
Yeah.
Whereas Sixer is, again, a passive AWP player. But even on these T sides, I find you see him to the back line. He allows the rifles and the pistols to move forward, and then he just gives them cover. And those kinds of moments, he does it very well.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting that you bring that up about Yugi. A couple of rounds, or the one rifle round that Heroic were able to get was when XMS jumped over that smoke at mid, and he was able to op him out of the sky. Well, where have those picks been? I've only seen one attempt at it, and it's no surprise that we see a CT opper feel limited on Cobblestone. It's an unforgiving map for anybody who is very aggressive, and for good reason. There's tons of free cover for terrorists to take advantage of, but it is still up to Yuki to put himself in his comfort zone and to assist his team by going for aggressive plays when necessary.
Is there any kind of one-off eco round play that you'd like to see Heroic try to utilize here?
I think long A is a really good place to go. Long B is tough because once a team has all of their utility, as we can see, full buy from everyone on EnVy, they're going to, no matter what the tell is, throw a bit of utility at long B to try to do damage to anybody that wants to rush it. Basically shut down a long B take if it happens. Long A, however, you're not going to see a lot of utility being used. Instead, you're going to see a player that is going to be playing up close, spotting, shoulder peeking with a smoke out, and prepared to fall back, which allows you to gain a lot of free ground even if you have a pistol. So more often than not, we see pistoling players.
They've got grenades. Heroic. A nice little curve by here.
Oh, and I was going off about T-side ecos, and it's actually Heroic that need to figure out what to do. One nade into drop. They have a second one.
And a third one. So Happy's been softened up, dropped by half health. But it's drop that he wants. It's drop that he needs. Molotov might help things out, but he's got to get the mag in. Pop flash over the ledge. Second man to support. He's going to actually get dropped back here. That's Nico and EC Tag combined for a kill. They still got 2 bits of smoke grenades. They could try to boost to grab the gun, but Snappy's going to get tested. Snappy's going to get killed. Barely so at that. He deals a substantial bit of damage and keeps this to the 3v3. Of course, Sixer on 10 HP. And the man on the cross then dealt with. Yugi removed, peeled on his attempt to cross towards site. RPK furthers himself, but now he's been tagged as well. It's desperate, but it's possible. Heroic could do this. Scream needs to be the insurance policy at this point.
Yeah, fortunate to have these 2 rifles. Sixer should basically have his pistol out in this situation. They've got 2 players coming in. They know exactly where they're coming from. There's only a certain amount of options for them. RPK taking a very smart angle here when someone drops out.
No smokes, no flashes, just shots need to be landed like that. EC Tag gets popped, and as does Nico. Both headshots, both kills, and another round for EnVy. So a little bit of success as you'd expect, seeing as they did buy into it ever slightly.
Yeah.
But that's still envious to the 4-point lead.
Now that we're back on another buy for Heroic, I would like to see Yuki once again go for an aggressive op pick. Depending on his spawn, something towards A where EnVy like to go on their defaults, and maybe this might be a round where EnVy decide to avoid that for once. And it looks like, yeah, they might be setting up for something full at B, which could be a problem. It's actually Yugi on this side of the map as well, so their read's better than mine, and I can see everything. But
Yugi can see things too, though, over the top of the smoke. He's a bit of movement, a shadow, a smidgen. He's not feeling safe, so he reels backwards. EC Tag pushes inwards. XMS then trades with 2 frags to the favor of EnVy. EC Tag no longer watches drop. No, he watches bomb site, but not the cross. That allows some real estate for EnVy. Scream with another one puts Heroic on the back foot. They're trying to reel back. They're trying to escape. They're trying to save. They've got a lot to their names. It's envious find 8.
Yeah, shots on point right now. Extremely good entries, and again, Heroic with a pretty good setup. When they were set up aggressively inside of A, inside of danger, they were happy to take those fights and couldn't do it and ended up having to take a 2-for-1 save. In this situation, put the op at B where Yugi is typically playing A and it's versus a rush, and yet they aren't fruitful. So in the face of good setups, EnVy have shown the power of their accuracy.
Seems like Heroic are being as outclassed as EnVyUs was on Overpass, at least in the beginning. Again, we saw the game get closer at the switching the sides, but this is very reminiscent of our opening map. Oof. Nice entry, yet again from XMS. I think he's very good at pushing, while Happy's very good at playing drop down. I think XMS is really the key to either extremity. I've seen a lot of highlights this weekend, either on long A or long B. It's over here yet once more that he tries to pick up the heat very fast as XMS comes in. Just barrels down EC tag, crosses towards the site, and reinforcements now arrive, as does the bomb, as does the headshot, and further frags are found. That 6er to drop Madi down and to leave Heroic in desperation. Yet again, 2 players up in a mere matter of seconds. RPK up close, Yugi to the backside.
Unbelievable, 5 alive, and the hot B take once again. This time the tempo was even faster. I don't think Heroic are ready for that. They even were full flashed, I think, with chain flashes coming into the site as XMS jumped out. Made his job a lot easier as the entry man, who was just supposed to create space. And once again, 5 alive. Happy gets that kill, and EnVy are going to have a whole round of buys. I mean, people are just going to be spending money just so they don't max out at this point. Heroic have only seen their last round win at the 3rd round. A pistol, an anti-eco, and 1 rifle round to their names.
We saw them find some kills and a bit of damage done last time they had a similar buy, but we'll see if Heroic can pass this test. EnVyUs just leap over yet another hurdle. It is the B-side stack with 4.
Oh wow, now that's a shoulder peek. Fluffs the second one. No ground to be gained, however. No control smokes or Molotovs, as this is a full eco. Nico just wants to take a fight if he can find it.
He's got the deagle at a distance, why not? He's happy will pop the Molotov and the flashbang. To the top side of the ledge, he falls on in. Madi softened to near 60 health, but he comes peeking in. That's 2 players to line up and 2 players to go down. Happy, yet again, just like Overpass, dealing with the pistols. But Yugi's got a bit of a response here, as RPK will do the same, and XMS to further this into that A site. The bomb is inbound, and Nico's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, monster performance. And again, no surprises here. EnVy's T side, just as good as it was about 2 hours ago. You know, versus what you could argue is a much stronger opponent, at least a better placing opponent in this tournament. Unfortunately, with this streak of rounds, there have been bomb plans, but that hasn't favored Heroic whatsoever. Instead, it's been Heroic to have to go buy save in this previous, decide to spend a little bit of money to give themselves a chance, but not have a lot of utility. Ultimately, have only lost 3 or 4 rifle rounds. It's just you really have to stop the hemorrhaging. Opportunity.
Yeah, that's a nice grenade, but XMS yet again finding these opening frags. It's really him coming to life at this point. Great.
Oh
done,
my god, that that was a monster flick. Oh my god.
A trade frag. That's something to find here. That could be a reinvigorating kill from Yugi. But Nico's gonna need more than just that. Bomb's already made its way towards B. Heroic take this one, hook, line, and sinker.
Jeez.
Now they're starting to realize what has occurred. But it's Happy who looks to obscure the connector door. Nico, with an M4, finds another frag, but it's on the wrong side of the site. At least this does guarantee an exit, but an exit at the 14th round is not what they necessarily want.
Yeah, no, not at all. And extremely hard to juggle the bomb back and forth on T-side, considering how big that rotation is for terrorists. There's no circumventing it either. There's no stairs like you have on Overpass. There's no mid like you have on Cash. You just gotta hightail it all the way around. And still, I mean, even with that, getting the bomb out so early, just as Heroic were like, oh, this might be their first attempt at A. It might not be the end of the round, but There's no way they're already on the other side of the map, and yet EnVy have thrown them through a loop. At this point, Heroic are just a chew toy. Look at this. Oh my God.
Fully flashed.
Off the scope. There needs to be a term for that.
Or just a loud, ridiculous noise.
Exactly.
Right? Like an air horn. That's what we'll do. Launders will be the first duo to incorporate a soundboard to our casting. Let's see what happens here with EnVyUs splitting up. I feel like they're a bit more cautious to this A play nowadays.
Yeah. I think they feel like they've conditioned Heroic enough to just be terrified of it.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's just this a ghost effect that you have where if you do condition your opponents properly, you no longer have to play that spot. They're still going to be, they're going to play it as if you're there. And it kind of has this like duplicating effect where, well, now Heroic feel like there are 10 players on the map when there are only actually 5.
Flames scouring the drop down both ways. Reignited by Heroic. Need something to kickstart the CT side. I mean, it's come the distance. We're in the 15th round. It's been unresponded in the last 11. Scary to say that the 4th round is the best they could walk away with. When that's your silver lining, you know you've been in a world of hurt. But there's 30 seconds left, so all they need to do is just disrupt this execution as EnVyUs come charging in. That's 3 quick frags and make it 4, make it 5. Nico with a headshot at the distance takes another round, but a little too little, a little too late.
Yeah, indeed, it might just be too late. Again, that is the one round they've won since the very first race round of the game. That is a tough pill to swallow. Again, this half is significantly better than a 12-3 half.
Yes.
And we are in a landscape where maps aren't as sided as they used to be, and so we don't really talk about this as anything but a great performance from one team and not so great performance from the other. Once they switch sides, everything is tabula rasa. They're going to be able to go back to the drawing board, and we're going to see a brand new team. I still think that Heroic are in this, but EnVy showed us exactly what we expected of them on Cobble. Fantastic T side.
Tabula rasa being blank slate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Just double checking.
Yep, got it.
Madi on screen, Yugi next to him. The in-game leader of Snappy in the center. He's been sculpting these players into a decent enough unit. Again, they've got some tricks on their sleeves, up their sleeves for certain maps. Cobblestone on the CT side does not seem to be one. They were left quite dilapidated. We'll see if they can just charge things up towards the A site. 5 players filtering in, Scream tapping away. He needs to reload now, and he doesn't, but he's still able to grab 1 frag, then he just tries to cower, and it's there that he does fall. RPK and XMS and Sixer as well, just finding further frags, finding a whole bunch of success. That's another pistol on the board, a frantic fist bump, and a cheer for EnVy.
It's very demanding to go in for the full-on handshake, the half handshake.
Mid-round.
Mid-round, yeah. He's like getting right in between the players and just really being a part of the team.
EnVyUs, a team that loves to buy their SMGs. I think that Cobblestone's a map that allows for this.
Yeah. Oh, that was interesting. Expending a little bit of utility early because they can do it. Better too early than too late, especially on anti-ecos. Never want to get caught with a nade out, so maybe you're doing it because of a read, but you still have your gun to fall back on at the end of the day, so typically worth it. Here it is, one of those situations. Great spray from both RPK and Scream. In tandem, MP9s.
Just a garden hose of bullets at that point. Here's Sixer to the backside. He's going to have a bit of an off angle, but he's going to also have an off day. Poor old Sixer gets slayed by EC Tag, who retrieves himself that UMP and will further his players towards the A site. But the bomb's over at B, so what you going to do?
What you going to do?
when they come for you.
Bad boy, bad boy.
35 seconds to play with. Maybe you find a frag. Scream uses the last bullet in the gun to pop the noggin of EasyTag. Yugi wants revenge, but instead he takes a Tech-9 shot to the face. And EnVyUs find 13. So this is looking quite convincing on Cobble. The kind of score that the desk alluded to towards Overpass. That's what they wanted to see from Heroic, but it's not what they got. Here you go, gentlemen. Here's your lopsided affair.
And here's the critical territory where if they had let that last round of the half go, then EnVy would be looking at match points on a round like this where Heroic would potentially be Glock saving. Also, it affects your buying decisions when you are down so many rounds. So in the second round when you normally wouldn't buy, you end up doing it. Here's a full-on Glock rush out into the site. The best they can ask for is a plant. I think they're fortunate to have gained this much distance in the first place, but just as the plant goes down, not a second to even crouch. Absolutely destroyed. And EnVy are going to be happy. Oh man, this is going to be kind of a crazy round. EnVy are going to be happy to just hang on to these MP9s. RPK is actually upgrading to the op. And no, they actually seem to be taking this round quite seriously. The MP9 is obviously only costing around 1,200 bucks.
In all honesty, I prefer seeing EnVyUs do this because they have the cash to go for it. And I think this is the kind of team that historically would have just kept like 3 or 4 SMGs. And those are the moments when while they're individually capable of making it work, sometimes they give away a round.
Yeah, and I think what people fail to remember as well is that like you are putting your teammates in jeopardy of losing the round. So if you do invest in an op, having those SMGs are great for your economy, but overall, are you losing more? First spray out from Scream. Opening kill for EnVyUs.
Flash over the half wall. There's EasyTag with a headshot, and Sixer's gonna get pinned in and blinded 3 times. Now the long push hasn't shown through, not yet. EnVyUs start to show themselves on the rotation in. Here's Sixer to hold the line. That's a crucial kill. Heroic now have to trickle in, all to the same direction. EasyTag creates some spaces. They've actually allocated another one on long. Sixer's wary of it, and he hits himself the flick later, Yugi, as Sixer's able to get to the top side of the barrel, still alive, still standing, but Snappy is gonna deal with the threat as XMS comes in. EasyTag takes them down. Heroic, in a very chaotic situation, make the best of it.
EasyTag was the only member of Heroic in that moment. 4 kills on that round. Sick entry to start it off. Sixer played that to perfection though and hit a fantastic shot, but ultimately was dealt with. Good stuff here. Could have got ugly right in that moment. Whoa, the spray transfer to ABC. Clean stuff.
Now here comes Heroic very quickly towards that B site. EnVyUs trying to get into position, but they're already been obscured. The flashbang is gonna make things hard. Regardless, Heroic are on the plat and Happy's on the tree, then dealt with swiftly. Yuki's up, finds the shot. Nico is then next. Here's coming EnVyUs, everyone towards the site. There's still just the pistol for Sixer. RPK gets dealt with. Maudie with a great frag, a crucial frag as it does open up the site. Snappy able to cross and plant. Sixer left falling backwards. So EnVyUs just looking to clash on that B bomb site. They try to get themselves out of position, but Heroic were very content with dueling off there.
Yeah. And it made a lot of sense for both squads in that situation to go as Hail Mary as they did because EnVy had more to work with. Sixer on the flank here. I mean, is he in this round? Pick up the AK and leave. Okay. No defuse kit to work with as the time whittles down. And another silver lining for Heroic, even if it's only as thin as some dental floss.
It's quite thin.
Yeah, that is translucent, but still there.
Yeah. So Sixer's able to commit himself to this one. Now, at what point do we believe in the comeback? Because Heroic, they're all too familiar with it. We saw them last weekend in Valencia actually lose a 12-3 half versus Red Reserve to get eliminated and denied entry to the grand finals. So they know these things are capable.
Yeah.
And I think that they're a team that have the resilience to actually pull this off. But then again, EnVyUs has the lead to close things out.
Surprised to see, I guess they're in anticipation of a double save. EnVy have opted to go for head armor with support of this AK. Wow, surprising. I guess just a matter of economy at that moment. Sixer here to take the first fight, doing good damage on Snappy. No one here to nade them out of position. He, in response, though, can fall back. It's heroic now to treat this round as if it's a rifle, expecting other players to have guns. I mean, that can only be a good thing for them, even though it is the case that EnVy only have one.
Screams very forward over towards long A. Could try to wrap around, but instead he starts to fall back. This angle is being held. No, excuse me. We had Madi just giving it up for a moment's notice. Now the CTs try to fight this off, and that's where they're gonna grab a kill. But more notably, another gun. If they can get it to the B site quickly, then maybe they hold back this push, but XMS is up close. And as are the T's, the Deeg, not yet to connect the shot, but damage is now dealt. Heroic need to be cautious, but it's in that caution that they succeed. Nico and Yugi combining for 2 apiece. And grabbing Heroic a 7th, unless Scream in some kind of heroic effort can stop the entirety of this, and he can't. Snappy executes him quickly.
Yeah, that could have got very ugly, but you could see those players working in tandem, kind of tethering off each other, swinging back and forth, not allowing any one person to take too much damage, instead finding a fight and having somebody else finish it. With half the rounds of EnVyUs, there is still some hope. We've seen some viable strategies. Their long pushes are good. Their anti-ecos are good. Even with losing the first kill, we're able to come back and not lose a single member after that.
Yugi again on the angle, and once more, falling prey to the shoulder peak. But luckily for EnVy, none of them fall to the shot. If anything, they want to re-aggress into this, but it's Madi to take 2. So, revenge over towards the Matrix. So Heroic further themselves. Excellently done. Again, a great anti-eco from them. Very methodical in their approach.
For sure. Now Madi, the man with the information. As per usual, working on his own. The solo agent of Heroic. Will tip his team off and have them follow suit into his sight. Whipping around to the sound of a deagle, but then volleying out that choke point and letting his teammate get some of the action. No. Snappy's gonna have none of it though. Could be a clean anti-eco at risk.
And Heroic doing a very good job of just minimizing losses, ensuring that they give up nothing. Take everything in return. The patience.
I like that trade.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Smart man.
RPK wants the chase, but Madi will deny. Little touch of the mustache, working that French magic.
Twist of the mustache.
Yeah, he's
tip of the hat. Tip of the top hat.
He's trying to come up with some fresh ideas because EnVyUs clearly needed. I mean, this has now been 4 consecutive rounds since the pistol. Obviously, an exact mirror of what we saw EnVy do in the opening half. So,
foreshadowing?
Trying to.
Yeah. Still unlikely, but
that's what they want you to think.
Exactly. Glimmer of hope. See if they can take it and run with it. Again, the easiest, it's an easier path here on the T side, just as long as the map isn't biased against you, to string rounds in a row, because CTs have expensive habits. They've got incendiaries that cost a lot that are also extremely valuable on Cobble, more than most other utility. And that's what constitutes a full buy, which they can't justify when they are on a buy save.
Okay, underneath, able to connect 1 quick kill, but EC Tag trades it back. Still lots of damage dealt.
Snappy doing the jebaited.
XMS on platform. He wants players to come charging through, and it's Madi who looks to maybe walk through smoke. Again, the freelancer over on this A site.
Yeah. I think he tells them to come to his site every single round.
Yeah.
And just say yes sometimes. It's hard to tell what information he's playing off of here. Oh, that flash.
Great
Super
flash.
effective. Oh
Great
my god.
peek. fake scream swaps to the sidearm. It doesn't get it done, but it is only one left on Heroic. What a setup, what a play. EnVyUs once again with perfect timing. And the clean sweep. Everyone is gone. That play right there reminds me of the moment that we see them set up on Overpass, where we see Scream again push through the smoke grenade right off the flashbang. It's like they're allowing the terrorists to get close, only to take them down. The marksmanship with this rifle, the dink as well. If only he could have got it.
Absolutely. Timing impeccable. It was decisive. And sometimes you don't have to actually see people to know what's happening. You just got to go with your gut, and they realize that the setup was happening. You know, similar setup, except now more pressure on Scream. Whoa, Sixer with the double.
Big collateral as Scream's again going to be tested, but he needs to reload, so he pulls out the shank. And at least Happy's able to just stop things for now. Pop flash goes high. Snappy falls back.
That was a dope pop flash. Works out beautifully. Final moments here for Heroic.
Woo. Snappy finds Happy. And now he will frown. As EnVyUs still need to take him down in order to ensure the win. Can he clutch? Can he keep this rolling? XMS not going to play bomb, but Snappy neither. So he's going to play the wraparound. My favorite.
Always get him from the back.
What a tease. He decides to just give up on his decision.
Triple mind games. Oh, intense waiting game here. Snappy, and it's actually Snappy who knows where the bomb is, but XMS forfeited that information, and he's trying to play it as if he would go to B, but because of cannons, he won't be able to get past him. XMS wins the round, and the game for EnVyUs 16-8 in the face of Heroic. Wow.
There we have it. Heroic able to put some gun rounds on the board to the T side, the same way that we saw EnVyUs on Overpass try and make things competitive. But it is a matter of time before the Frenchmen figure things out and seal the deal, tying it all up at 1 apiece and putting us in the position we expected to be in.
Yeah.
The decider map of Inferno. Most played map, the most recent PGL major. Again, a nice middle ground, a place where a lot of players and a lot of teams feel comfortable. So we're gonna see if, of course, these teams are comfortable enough to give us a close game. That's what I hope for. I wanted a nice tight series, Launders.
Super tight.
Yep, very much so. James is ready. We'll see what he feels, and the analysts as well. How about you guys unpack that one for us?
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, so we came into this saying that it was a flip of a coin. We were expecting a 2-1, one way or another, a little bit split between us. But Envy, though, looked like they were letting it slip away again. That closing it out off that 14th round made it look a little bit difficult.
I mean, it's obviously going to change a little bit once Heroic have the opportunity to buy weapons. They're going to put up more of a fight. Obviously, in the first half, a lot of it comes down to the fact that Heroic went pistol, but then lose consecutive rounds and still never really are able to actually build up a strong economy on their CT side. And again, it comes down to the fact that it's a utility-heavy map. If you lose a ton, even though you're getting max loss bonus, you're still not going to have enough for all your nades and utility. And we really saw actually EnVyUs take advantage of that fact when you saw their immediate B pushes, for instance, where they would just like have pop flashes continuously running over so XMS could drop down Broken Wall and stuff like that. They're allowed to do that because Heroic doesn't have the money necessarily to actually buy all the Molotovs and smokes they need to fend off that kind of a push initially. And when they actually had money, you saw a very methodical way of from EnVy to actually send a running mate with Happy down towards drop room, which is something we haven't seen in previous games, while the rest of the team was focusing slowly, taking A halls and mid control, and eventually, set up for a kind of a split or execute towards that A bomb side. So it's just very well played from EnVyUs, and I think the only reason we see a bit of a comeback or a bit of a fight left in Heroic is because they finally have some money to use once they're done with ecoing on the T side.
Yeah, Eric, what were your thoughts about that Cobble showing?
Yeah, I mean, EnVyUs had a really good structured T side. I don't think I saw one single multi-frag from anyone on Heroic. Like, never did we see a 2K or 3K. It was pretty much always clean trades for EnVyUs. So that was the story of the T side for me. I mean, losing pistol and then winning 11 straight. So super good T side. And it was just not enough teamwork, I guess you would say. A little bit less structure on the heroic CT side, because if there's no trade kills, even after the 1-for-1s, I mean, it's just too individualistic at A. They seem to just get this one, then they get the bomb site, have to save.
Yeah.
And then that good change of pace, like you said, where they just had XMS rush B was nice.
I think that's a massive issue if you trade evenly on a map like Cobble, or we don't see multi-frags. Just the fact that both three sites, normally on any map in the CSGO map pool, you have one site that's easier to retake than the other. On Cobble, I think it's just pretty much both are hell to retake.
Yeah, it is.
So if you go up with even numbers, and again, low utility, it's just a really, really tough situation to be in. So you need to kind of have individuals shine through really and make your path a little bit easier.
Talking of those individuals, we do see the stats on screen. Any standout players specifically on Cobble? I believe these are summed up for both.
Exactly.
Both maps,
honestly, RPK again. It becomes a bit of a. I'm sounding like a broken record, but he played really well on Cobble. I think Happy as well.
That's why they call him the tank.
Yeah, he just kind of keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Can't stop him. I also think Yugi in the first half had a lot to say, pretty much, and that was pretty much the only shining light for Heroic. But again, coming into this, I think they sat with the same feeling we did leading up to the game. It's pretty obvious that Overpass is going to go to Heroic. Fairly confident that Cobble's going to go to EnVyUs, and now the real test really arrives.
So Inferno. What are the conversations going to be like, Eric, between these two teams now? What are they going to be saying to each other? How are they going to get themselves psyched up for this final map of the end of the tournament? Whoever wins this map takes it all.
Well, what are they going to say to themselves?
Yeah, what are they going to be talking about between themselves? How are they going to get them psyched up?
Well, I do think EnVyUs is a momentum-based team, so after that clean sweep right there, very easy victory, EnVyUs should be very confident coming into this. And I think Banana Control is going to be like the main point of contact here, like who's going to win this, to see who can control Banana on CT and Terra side. There's always so many nades exchanged there. And it's really still like, it's not really figured out like perfectly how to control Banana like the old Inferno. So it's always really interesting to see how the terrorists approach it. If they want to do an early control and face the nades, or want to go with a late control, give the CT some map control, but then take it away late in the half.
No, for me, it's obviously Banana Control is going to be massively important for both sides. I kind of want to see what we saw from EnVyUs and Valencia. If they notice that there's heavy app usage from the T side on Heroic's end, I want them to be as aggressive as they tried to be versus NIP, because they found a lot of success with that. They were very disruptive. There weren't very many executes that NIP were allowed to do with a full 5, honestly, and I think that does a lot for you, because we've seen quite a few teams also start off their game, at least, not necessarily fully focused over it through the course of a half, but at least start off with a lot of A pressure, and that's obviously to keep both bomb sites honest and not being able to overstack or something like that. So if they notice those kind of tendencies, I expect them to actually act accordingly like they have done in the past.
Okay, great. We will be going through to Inferno very soon. We are at even Stevens. EnVyUs and Heroic will go through to Inferno to find out who will be taking the lion's share of the $100,000 and be lifting that trophy. But first, we will go to a quick break. And before that, I do want to remind you a little bit about the Strafe Esports app. It's a place on your iOS or Android phone, and it has everything esports inside of it. If you want to find out what's going on inside of Counter-Strike or any other game here at DreamHack or any other event coming up, that is the best place to do that. So we are going to go back to a quick break. We'll be back very soon.